Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a game for you guys today. This is a ranked game. I'm playing against the First Lieutenant, Veek 281. I am playing as Grim Soldier. I switched to it a little bit ago. It's the first alias I've had that isn't some play on words from Black Knight, but I wanted some anonymity in ranked a little bit, and I've been, I don't know. It's been quite nice, but I chose this one for two reasons. First, it wasn't all that long ago when I was doing this the other way around, where I was the first lieutenant or captain going against a colonel, and now I'm the colonel going against the first lieutenant, which I thought was, I don't know, it's kind of a nice inversion there. I've had a lot of games up against, brigs or colonels or lieutenant colonel stuff like this. But then also, I really wanted to congratulate this guy, particularly on his opener, because Veek 281, I think, definitely got the best of me in the opener, and how the game progresses since after that and toward the mid game was pretty interesting. So I'm playing Scandi Mech, which is probably my favorite deck for 1v1 ranked. It's just very comfortable, and I'm being a little bit of a mech brain here with just kind of going everywhere at once. I have no main push, and that does come back to bite me here because my opponent very much does have a main push, and he's playing, I believe, Commonwealth. And he has Rover Wombats, he has Gurkhas in those transports there, and he wants all of Bravo in the opener at, sort of the bargain of splitting Foxtrot down the middle. Now, if I had done a big Foxtrot push, maybe could have gotten the advantage over him here, but he does have a Challenger 1 Mark II back there, and this is what I was saying with really, he got the better of me in the opener, because my Lauros are not sufficient, my Panzerbill is not sufficient, RBS 90 will be pretty nice here, but even that, I get one hit, and then the Lynx H7 gets away, and I'm on the back foot. We've both capped our 2-pointers, but, I can countercap Fox, I cannot countercap Bravo. That's a +1 tick to Veek 281, should he keep it. Another thing that's a little bit goofy, my Bell 204 is going around the sides here. Dishonorable gameplay, but I wanted to see what I could do with these. It is 90 points for both of these, which does take away from the opener in other places. And I definitely felt the lack of those 90 points on the board, particularly going into Bravo, where if I had taken, for example, double Stormer CV9030N, I would be able to fight against these Gurkhas. I'd have the Stormer in the town, and those heavy IFEs for fire support. I think that would have been a really nice thing. So this is not free, and if I don't get return on investment for it, it's going to be a little bit goofy. Additionally, I was using this game to test out a different variation of Scandi Mech from what I am used to running. So I, of course, did get to Brigadier General on my other account with Scandi Mech. This is a different variation, so I'm trying some new units. We're trying Panzerskita in the STRF, we're trying some other infantry units I think you'll see there as well, and then I'm also just trying out different buying priorities to see how I like that, because a large portion of this game is, of course, the units that you buy to bring in. Even if the deck is the same, different buying priority can make a really huge difference. And experimenting with that against a first lieutenant seemed like a better idea than experimenting with that against a brigadier. So I am currently, well, what I like to point out for this game, keep in mind how the point of contact shifts over time. So right now, the point of contact in Foxtrot is very much sort of curved here, and then sort of a straight line-ish right down the middle, but then curving again backwards. So as far as total map control goes, I don't have very much, and the line of contact, even if there's not a lot of active fighting going on right now, is very much in my opponent's favor. If we take a quick look at his line here, he has this sort of U shape, contrary to what I have, where it's very much a curved defensive line, a bulge outward. He has this sort of concave shape here with Fusiliers 90, or rather base Fusiliers, don't see those all the time. Base Fusiliers there at the front of his Alpha, and then he has this defensive line going all the way down through Bravo and a defense in Foxtrot. So this is a very forward line for him, and a very defensive line for me. And my whole goal here is to just be Scandi Mech, to take grinding engagements everywhere that I can all the time and get nice picks and fight cost effectively and sort of recover as the game goes on, which is not ideal, right? You're 5 minutes in, and this is just, it's a lot of A lot of work that my side needs to do here to get the upper hand, if I even can at this point. So M48A1s, I have infantry here with the NM113s. I called out an Amos just to see if I could try this thing. I've been underwhelmed by the bad beacon for too long, and we do get our first pick on that 60-point Starfighter. Admittedly, the cost of a Scout Defender, but that's the sort of thing that Scandimech likes to do. I lost a 30-point Helo. He lost a 60-point plane. Fair enough. That works. Over time, that works. Of course, it doesn't really make up for the amount of income we've gotten since the beginning, and I did lose quite a bit here at the very start, but when you think about it, 4 Recoilless Rifle Jeeps, 40 points. Panzerbills, another 15. It's not the end of the world. Most of my opener is still intact, and I'm calling out more as time goes on, getting an early cap in Foxtrot. This was a decision I made in order to offset the fact that I'm going to be behind on tick should my opponent cap both of these zones. And I wanted to have a little bit of breathing room. I didn't want to be capping in response to my opponent, just denying him that passive pressure if I can. Falkenmager 90 on this side going in, trying to get into Bravo, and the ones on the other side are doing a little bit of a cheeky maneuver here, going for my opponent's reinforcement line, which, yeah, dishonorable play, but, it's plunging. People base cheese all the time, and a single Falkenmager 90 I've seen far worse. Plus, I just want to see if it would work, right? Because the Erix is a little bit of a weird launcher to use for this. Most times, probably better to do it with something like the Apolos, but 15 strength is nice as well. What was really nice here for my opponent, taking out those Falkenmager 90 with a rocket pod plane and an evac Winchester, it's a good response time. It was a nice pick. It was identifying, his infantry might not have won that fight, and certainly would have been quite damaged should they win that fight. But that plane, that Starfighter, could just come in, get the kill, run away. My mistake, by the way, I think those are 70 points, not 60. Every time I see CF-104, I think the 104G, which is 60 point, but I believe the Starfighter's 70. So, LHV, going up against Gurkhas, never really good engagement, but I have NM113s here. I have an STRF that's still alive from the RBS 90, that's why I love that card so much. And the triple M48A1 moving forward, 45 points, 3 tank guns, each one 3 HE power, 8 RPM. If I can get that shooting in, it's quite nice. On this side, I did kind of forget about the Lynx H7s. I'd hoped to do some goofy stuff with Ildater's Gruppe, but yeah, it was a bit of a throw. Still, only 30 points. Yeah, there's a point where it still is not worth it. So we're just going to take a little bit of a wider flank around here. Veek is capping Bravo, and this is what I was hoping to avoid. I mean, it's 19 points to 6 right now, but if there's a counter cap in Fox, that's going to be uncomfortable. So on this side, RBS 90 are going to do a nice job screening out that Lynx H7 if they can connect, which is a big if apparently. But that's really the nice thing about the M48s. They have 5 frontal armor. They're not going to die very quickly to the rocket pods here. Even if they do make contact, it's only 2 volleys. I might lose one, probably not, to be honest. I don't think I would. And we are getting a couple of picks here on just base Fusiliers and 5-pointers. This is not really the most value. Like, I have to outright kill 2 of these squads entirely in order to get return on investment, and that Starfighter, it's nice. It's nice. I haven't really seen First Lieutenants using that all that much. Maybe you guys have, but I've not. And this is the sort of thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, Gurkhas will slaughter LHV, but it's not just the LHV they're fighting. And this is getting pretty uncomfortable for Red, so he has to do something about it. He's going to be calling in an F-111C, and this is one of those mistakes that you can't really afford to make. So we get one hit, F-111C evacs into an automatic, we get the pick there, and there's not much really lost here for me. Yeah, I'm going to lose all of the LHV, that's fine. They're 5 points apiece, they're militia, it's their job to die, and for that, we got an Mi-17 and an F-111C. That's a lot of value in my favor. So at this point, I'm going to do mech things. I'm building up a push into the 2-point because I'm doing that sort of internal math on, okay, I've seen at least 1, possibly 2 additional Starfighter buys. We have F-111C buy. We've gotten some eyes on what he's bringing in, and I think he's focusing mostly in Bravo, so we're going to split his attention. We're also going to get these Dragoner moving around here. I just wanted to spot the Lynx H7s now, and we might be trying to take those guys out with a puff, maybe something like that. That does, of course, have the ability to spot radar anti-air, which you won't always see that with Commonwealth, but you'll usually see something like a Challenger. I don't think the Puff can really kill those because of the front armor, but if I get a side shot, maybe. So here they are, Lynx H7s going away, Puff coming in to chase. and I'm trying to make this guy have to decide where he's going to buy his reinforcements, and I want him to make mistakes with this. So it was actually a really interesting replay for me to watch from his perspective as the game went on, because he does start buying reinforcements for this side, for Bravo, sort of all at once, and that is going to be something that Unspec cannot really do as cost effectively as Mechanized can, because even if we call out the same units like lines, mine beat his, because I have higher infantry veterancy, and the MG3 is very potent. Dragoner are very good for this. So that's sort of the idea here. Then as this pressure increases across Foxtrot, across Delta, across Bravo, eventually there's going to be some give. Additionally, this was going after an ATGM team that has been taking out some M41s. Not really the best trades for me there. There's another one. I didn't quite notice that at the time, though, so I didn't really notice he was right there. Not ideal. But I also have RBS, we have STRFs. This sort of flanking attack through the woods is very difficult to defend against, especially against mechanized spec infantry here. But we're, what, 11 minutes in, and it's still looking pretty good for Veek, right? Some bad trades, not the worst. And I don't know, this is the third reason I really wanted to cast this game. I felt very awkward with this push, which was unusual, because again, this is one of my favorite decks, I'm usually very comfortable with it, but here, very much not. And I don't know if it was just opening sort of weakly into all three, and as a result not being able to push any one of them, like that's certainly an issue. I don't know, it was weird. So, Warrior 90, I do like this pick. 6 front armor for 20 points is very nice. We kill it with the automatic, but this is not a good trade at all. I've recently started upfetting my automatics. I only get 3, and that one was just fed to a Milan, so we're going to be trying to get some revenge with the Amos. I've been liking this thing. It's not the best, but it certainly can kill infantry when put to the task. So, Starfighter coming in, kills M41A1s, that's fine. Automatic, boom, boom, boom. And nearly getting a kill there. Really wanted that one. I don't know. It's upfed automatic. I brought it because it's supposed to be able to kill planes. It's just a little bit too far away, so... So, we're going to fire and move. Automatic's not going to stay still. Bell 2A4s are carrying more False Jaeger 90, and I also am trying out... This is the Panzerskita in PBV. 15-point autocannon, 4 front. Not amazing. Could be better, could be worse. We're going to try that for this town push, see how it goes, see if I like the card, see if I don't like the card, go from there. So, at this point, F111C, I'm not sure if it was supposed to get something on the first pass, it didn't actually drop here, so he might have right-clicked and then lost vision, but that's the second F111C that we've had killed outright, and because of the Starfighters, because of the F111Cs, that's going to be a block 15 buy, 120 points, and it does of course come on maximum veterancy, here at elite veterancy, and we're just going to keep him circling back behind this line, discourage bombing runs, things like that. And here comes a light push into Alpha. If I lose this, mostly LHV, NM113s are sort of just going where they can. Again, just trying to make Veek buy into every section of the map and not actually build up a good defense or a good push in any one location. As the Dragoner get around, RBS-90 get around, STRF is going through, we're going to pick off that Lynx very, very shortly. And here, with a kill, hopefully on some SBS, we are going to be able to take this town in Bravo, push these sections of woods, and be able to counter cap in Bravo to prevent that +1 tick. And then with that, with these kills on the Fusiliers as well, if I have a toehold in his 2, if I have a counter cap in both the flanks, that's very nice, but this is more than just that, because if I can get infantry around, if I can make my opponent feel like it's not safe to cap Foxtrot, then that becomes a counter cap on one flank, neutral, my zone in Foxtrot, and I get the +1 there. And there's no real need to win this outright in the opener, I think, which can often be risky, it requires a big investment, I don't have enough on the other side. This map, as we'll see with my replay review, or may have already, depending on the order I uploaded this from Polska Goro's game, if there's a hard push into a flank where you just didn't open into, it can be very tough to turn that around. So, one small mistake here, the Stormer HVM's missiles are off. I think once you retreat to about here, turn them on, kill the M48s. Because these guys are just eating your Lynx H7 missiles is not really ideal for that sort of thing. And now we're into the woods, we're into the town, wrapping this up hopefully, and I can counter cap pretty soon. Yeah, this is just, if we look at the line of contact now, compared to how it was, right? So you remember how it was? I was very light here. I was pretty much right in this section. Nothing really more forward than that. I was in my own woods here in Delta. I was back sort of concave around this side with just the STRF. Now, we've basically shunted all of Red's positions across the entire line. So he was here previously, now I'm here. He was here previously, now I'm here. He was here previously, he still is, to a certain extent, but it's no longer comfortable. And if we look from his perspective, that whole, it's still the same shape, but now there's a lot of gaps. So there's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's a gap, like a big gap right all the way through this whole section, and the flank is no longer safe on the other side as well. So there's a Challenger 1 Mark II with no infantry in the woods to protect him, which becomes very, very much a vulnerable thing. So Gurkhas, and this is interesting. So I don't think I love the Panzerskit 90 pick. They don't perform any better than Dragoner against things like Gurkhas. In fact, they perform worse, I think, because the KSP is worse than the MG3. And I still end up relying on things like Fallskirmjäger 90 for my actual punch. But Dragoner here in the woods, I mean, it's a quad stack, it's a bit brain dead, but we're getting kills, right? And the CV90 30Ns are just beautiful fire support. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back to double CV90 30N cards because it's not like Martyr 2s where it's 110 per call out. The infantry are cheaper with Stormer. The CV90 30Ns are cheaper than Martyr 2s. It adds up. It's quite a lot of difference. And the CV90 30Ns, properly microed in the woods, are beautiful. Gurkhas engaging the Dragoner, they're using their tertiary, and the CV90 30Ns are going to mop up, which, you know, more experienced players, higher ranked players might be able to still get picked on the CV90 30Ns here, especially after that first engagement, but I just love these guys. They're so nice. Bushmaster 2s are amazing. Low ammunition count, but you know, you get Scanias up here, you resupply them, and you can really get a lot of mileage out of those guys for very little investment comparatively. And if I get nervous that they might get anti-tank rounds to the face, we just withdraw, and we mop up the rest of those Gurkhas with Dragoner at cost, because these are 30 each, 60 for that total bit. Dragoner are 10 each, 40 points for that 4 stack. 4 MG3s firing in all at once. So, Challenger 1 Mark III. Nice buy, I think, generally. Here, I'm not so sure. It doesn't really have anything it's meant to kill. Right, like that tank alone won't be able to project force into this town, whereas infantry would. I think it's probably better to have the 1 Mark III in alpha, denying this section, engaging my 103Ds and laughing at their inferior armor and armor piercing that really can't handle a Challenger 1 Mark III. Probably would have been a better idea there. Just some feedback, Veek, if you do see this. And I don't know. At this point in the game, I wanted some more Fallskirmjäger. I wanted to sort of go with these guys up through the woods, get a little bit more control of Bravo. Not as far back as I did the first time, but just sort of around the side here. Especially because I knew the Challenger 1 Mark III was operating in this section here, where if I can get the Fallskirmjäger 90 to use those Erix missiles against it, that's really tough. It's really tough for Red to deal with. And then we just get a counter cap, we start ticking, 22 minutes left. It's not a 5-minute adventure, and this is something too, I think it comes down a lot to people's preferred style of play. I don't like 5-minute games. I don't really like taking my opener, throwing it at my opponent, and hoping for the best. And in large part, that's because I prefer to take these longer matches where I can sort of mess with my opponent's buys, I can get good individual trades, and I can push when I'm up 300-400 points on trading. It's a bit more of a destruction player way of looking at it, which is not always the best. And certainly has lost me games where I just don't have the early tick at my opponent, but I don't know. It's a more methodical style of play, but also a less powerful one in the opener, certainly, so there are trade-offs here. So, Starfighter moving around, my RBS-90's out of ammunition, or this thing would already be dead for circling for so long, and I probably should have sent the Block 15 after it already, but here we are, engaging in, and should get the kill. Pretty sure. Yep. I think so. Jeez. Yeah, there it is. Not bad. And this is where the Rover Wombats, I mean, such an excellent unit in the opener, but that was a 40-point feed, because Bushmaster 2s just don't care about this sort of thing. M48A1s, as I said, I'm trying these different units, but yeah, I mean, this is pretty nice, right? It's the SBS, don't have the armor piercing, kill these guys in one shot, and if they were left in that town, they'd be dead. As it actually happens, a little bit goofily, they're just going to be sitting right behind this town block, and because the M48s have 0 recon, 0, like, horrible optics, I think, yeah, poor optics. I never actually spot them, so those SBS get away with their lives, but this game wraps up because of this exact push not going well. So, Panzerkit 90, Falcon Jaeger 90, we're peeling off the IFVs, we have more than enough with the Elicta MG3s and the KSP machine guns to take care of all of this infantry here without too much trouble. Falcon Jaeger 90 going around the side, and this is where I'll start buying planes as well, because now I'm up on trading, now I'm in a decent position. I don't really have to buy crazily on the ground all that much more. I have a CV coming out to get into Bravo. I can afford to go after something like the Challenger 1 Mark III with an MLU, Block 15 sort of behind it to get rid of interceptors, but I hadn't seen much radar anti-air, so it's calculated risk. We go in, get the kill, 145 point kill, that's gone, and that Challenger 1 Mark II now has to feel a little bit unsafe. I don't think Vik knew it was spotted, so yeah, I don't even have recon here really, it's just the LHV medium optics. This is not a good hiding spot, so it's been sitting out in the open for way too long. I guess it's a bit of feedback. Puff, a little late to the party, but just hanging around. 80 points. Cheap seed is actually pretty powerful. I used to laugh at it, but yeah, it's quite nice. It really is. Should have gotten a resupply Scania over here earlier to get the RBS and the Panzerskita, but no. There is no such thing as a perfect game of Wargame after all. And with that, we have about a minute left. Not too much action, and it's a weird game, right? Like, I think we both have more points than just our opener on the field by now. It's just been a bit of a grindy game, just attacking sort of everywhere at once, very slowly, very methodically, trying to clear this thing out. And yeah, I almost it's an obnoxious style of play to play against as well. So my apologies, Vik. It turns into stuff like this, where I'm just getting picks at the end, and there's not enough to ever really reinforce into each one. Because if we look just briefly here, there's been reinforcements to all three sides, and never enough at once. So this was not the best plan engagement for me. Double Tornado F3 does, of course, outcost my Block 15s by just a little bit. We get one. Jeez, I'm bad at this. I get one, and then I don't click on the other one quickly enough, so the Tornado F3 does get out there with skin of his teeth. We take down that Sea Harrier, though, and that is going to be game. Surrender for my opponent, and you can see why. So 1845 kills, 915 losses, and combine that with the loss of board position, and he probably knew that the rest of the game was just going to be ticking in my favor without him really being able to do all that much for it. So stars of the show are going to be things like the automatic. Even though it did die, we got an F111C, Starfighter, Lynx H7. Very nice return on investment there. I should have kept it alive, but such is life. The other automatic, F111C, I mean, it's a really good unit. Really, really good unit. But even Dragner did very well, right? These guys will kill Fusiliers, they don't really care. CV9030N's getting nice return on investment. Just a lot of good trade in this game. And that's going to be all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.